At this stage, when we're talking to the client, it is possible they might have marketing avatar data or like a profile of their avatar that they're selling to. They might have that already done in their marketing materials. And a lot of people talk about building a market avatar, so I want to address it quickly. Now, my thoughts are that avatars are super convenient. I love it when my client gives me an avatar, and if, there's a big if, in my market detective system, my ethically lazy research framework, if I'm allowed to stop at survey the client, if I meet the rules for that, then I have permission to use their avatar. Awesome. I love it. It's super easy. I've had this before. The client gave me an avatar, and according to my rules, I didn't have to go any further with my research. So I stopped there and I wrote from their avatar, and it was amazing because there was a lot of information there. So it's great. But avatars can and often are misleading. That's grammatically incorrect. They can and often are. Okay. They can be misleading and they often are misleading. Apologies. I don't like grammatical incorrectness in my courses, but I'm just going to leave that there because it's more fun. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Avatars can be misleading and one-dimensional. It is hard to really get someone by condensing them down to a paragraph or two talking about them. And more to the point, they always felt fake to me. I just know I'm reading an avatar. This is Stacy. She has 3 children. She comes home from work sometimes, and she doesn't really have time to cook a healthy dinner for her children, although she feels that she really would want to. Like when I was writing helping Pavlok write a landing page or rewrite one of her landing pages, they had a document kind of like that where they had a profile, and I'm not knocking them because they've done their research, but it just feels fake no matter how much research you put into it. And I knew it wasn't a real person. I always know they're not real people, and my mind rebels against it. And more to the point, client avatars in general are almost always wrong because they're written by people who don't understand marketing. Most people who are marketers, in air quotes, they don't really get marketing. And so their avatars are idealized, and they have way too many weird details as well. Probably in an attempt to make it look like a real person, which is just weird. And on top of that, some businesses just can't use avatars. Like at the Barefoot Investor, we had a really diverse customer profile. The most common thing we could say was Australians who want to take control of their money. That's a very, very broad thing. We had like teenagers up to 90-year-olds from all walks of life. No avatar could sum that up, which is why, in general, I do not bother creating avatars. Instead, there is a far more powerful technique, which you've probably heard before, but if you haven't, write to a real person. And I don't mean in the sense that your copy should be like saying the word you. I mean, actually imagine a real person who you know or have spoken to in the target market and write thinking of them. Think every line you write, think, what would they think of this? Would they want to hear this? What would they be asking right now? So in creating this course, Market Detective, I imagined a few of my best inbox detonator students who were really the target profile for this. And I thought, well, what would he want? At this point, what would he be asking? What would he want to see here? What would he like? And that's how I built this course. Rob Allen, my friend, the copywriter I interviewed later in this course, he mentions doing the same thing when he did about 500 calls with customers, and then he would actually imagine real people. Caveat is, this obviously requires you to be in stages 4 or 5 of my system, right? You need to actually have spoken to the market or be in the market, or luckily have someone in the market but that would automatically take you to stage 4, I guess. So what if you haven't spoken to someone real in the market? You don't know a real person in the market. Well, you can generally get the same effect just by reading a lot. And that's actually the core of my system, which you're going to see me do in stage 2 introverted research. We're going to read a lot of comments from the market. And so I prefer to use, if I can't talk to a real person, instead of making an avatar, I just use actual quotes gathered by topic. And that is exactly what I'm going to show you how to do with the customer Zukan document a little bit later in this course. So those are my thoughts on avatars. I have never made one for a job. Either write to a real person or just use real quotes.